Adunni's life changed forever the day she found the pot. In Olyomo village, there was no place for a poor girl with big dreams. Adunni knew this all too well. Her days were spent under the harsh sun, working in the fields, her only reward being a meal at the end of the day if there was food to spare. But she always dreamed of something more, of a life beyond survival. One evening, after a long day, Adunni decided to take a shortcut home through the forest. The elders said that spirits lingered there, and that no one should walk alone after sundown. But her body was weary, and her empty stomach urged her on. As she walked, the shadows deepened, and the trees seemed to whisper her name. Suddenly, a glint caught her eye. At the base of an ancient tree, half hidden by roots and leaves, was a pot, an old, dusty pot covered in faded symbols. It looked as though it had been buried for centuries, and yet there was something almost alive about it. Adunni knelt down, staring at the pot. Something inside her whispered to leave it alone. But a stronger voice told her this was her chance. With trembling hands, she lifted the pot from the earth. It was heavier than she expected, and as she touched it, a strange warmth spread through her fingers. Carefully, she removed the lid. Inside, her eyes widened. The pot was filled to the brim with sparkling gold dust. Adunni's heart pounded. She had never seen such wealth, and she could barely believe it was real. But there, nestled in the dust, was a small scroll. Unrolling it, she read, "This is a gift, but beware, the gold will last only as long as you take no more than you need. Greed will turn this blessing into ruin." She hesitated, the warning echoing in her mind. But her hunger and her family's suffering were all too real. Deciding to take a small amount, she scooped a handful of gold dust, tied the pot's lid tightly, and buried it back under the tree. She wanted it hidden, safe from the eyes of the greedy. When she returned home, she presented the gold to her mother, who gasped in awe. They went to the village market, where the gold bought them more food and supplies than they'd ever imagined. For the first time in years, their heart was filled with laughter, the smell of a hot meal, and the warmth of hope. As the days passed, Adunni returned to the pot whenever her family needed help. A small handful of gold at a time, just enough to get by. Soon, her family had new clothes, warm blankets, and medicine for her sickly grandmother. People in the village started to notice the change. Whispers spread quickly, some saying Adunni was blessed by the spirits, others claiming she had discovered a hidden fortune. Among those whispering was Olori, the wealthiest woman in the village. Olori was known for her sharp tongue and greedy heart. Her family's wealth was her pride, and she hated the idea that a poor girl like Adunni could rise above her station. One day, Olori approached Adunni in the market, her voice honeyed but her eyes sharp. "Adunni, my dear," she said, smiling, "your family has come into some fortune, I see. Wouldn't you share your secret with me? I could help you use it wisely." Adunni forced a smile. "There's no secret, ma'am. Just a little good luck." But Olori's eyes narrowed, suspicious. "Luck? Or something else?" Adunni walked away, her heart pounding. She knew Olori was watching her, waiting for her to sleep. That night, she buried the pot deeper, but she couldn't shake the feeling that danger was near. One dark evening, Adunni felt an urge to check on the pot. As she neared the tree, she saw fresh footprints in the soil. Her stomach twisted, someone had been here. She frantically dug at the base of the tree, her fingers clawing at the earth. But her worst fear was confirmed. The pot was gone. Terror and fury filled her. Only one person would dare to steal from her, Olori. The older woman's greed knew no bounds, and now she had the one thing that had saved Adunni and her family from poverty. Adunni ran to Olori's compound, bursting into the yard where she found Olori holding the pot in her hands, the lid already open. She looked up, her eyes gleaming with triumph. "So, you hid this treasure from us all?" Olori sneered, her voice dripping with contempt. "A gift like this should belong to someone who knows its true worth." Adunni's voice trembled. "It's a gift, Olori, but it comes with a warning. Take only what you need. If you don't, the gold will turn to ash." Olori laughed. "You think I'm a fool? Look at all this gold, Adunni. You've wasted it, using it bit by bit. I know better." She reached into the pot and scooped up handfuls of gold, her greedy fingers clutching every speck she could grab. Adunni watched, horrified, as Olori's hands emerged, filled with gold dust, only for it to begin to crumble, turning into grey ash before her very eyes. Olori gasped, brushing off the dust, her eyes wild. What is this?" she cried, reaching into the pot again. But each time, the dust in her hands turned to ash, slipping through her fingers and scattering on the ground. "It's cursed!" Olori shouted, hurling the pot at Adunni's feet. "This isn't wealth, it's nothing but ashes." But Adunni could feel it, the pot still held its magic. Gently, she lifted it, brushing away the ash. As she did, the remaining gold dust shimmered, warm and alive. She tied the lid shut once more, her heart filled with a fierce determination. From that day on, Adunni no longer hid the pot's power. Instead, she used it to help her neighbors in need, giving food to hungry families, medicine to the sick, and tools to the farmers. But she never forgot the warning. She took only what was necessary, knowing the gift would last as long as it was shared wisely. Olori, meanwhile, had lost all her wealth, for her reputation was destroyed after the village learned of her greed. She became an outcast, shunned by the people she once controlled, left to face the bitterness of her own choices. As for Adunni, her name became known far and wide, not just as the girl with the magic pot, but as a leader with a heart rich in kindness and courage. The pot's real treasure, she realized, was not the gold it held, but the life it allowed her to build, a life filled with purpose, love, and a community that would forever remember the girl who found the treasure and shared it with all.